You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
I told you, man! I told you! Don't fuck with me!
In 1940, Hitler had conquered France.
3,500만 명이란 목숨.
35 million lives were given up in World War II in patriotic fervor, created by propaganda campaigns.
희생되었다.
Australia marches with Britain, land of plenty, land of untold resources, all placed gladly, willingly at the feet of Mother England.
Look carefully at this man. He's the Emperor of Japan, whose forces have committed the appalling atrocities against British Empire and Chinese troops and civilians, men and women in Hong Kong. These are the swine who bound and bayoneted our helpless soldiers in their hands. If these pictures serve to kindle a flame of vengeance throughout the civilized world, they will have served their purpose. Let the cry be vengeance, bloody vengeance!
미국 대중과 의회는
For the second time, the American public and Congress were overwhelmingly against entering the war in Europe.
Another war, not for me. This time America should keep out, and I know I will. If war breaks out in Europe, I think that this country should heed the advice of its first president and avoid all foreign entanglements. In the event of war in Europe, I think we should stay out of it entirely.
프랭클린 루즈벨트 대통령은
So, President Franklin Roosevelt needed something that could provoke Hitler into declaring war on the US
위협하여 행동으로
and frighten the public into action.
무엇인가가 필요하였다.
Which will live in infamy.
그래서 그는
He did
일본군이
this by deliberately failing to warn his fleet commanders that a surprise Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor was imminent.
그에게 경고는
The
영국,
warnings came to him from the governments of Britain, Australia, and the Soviet Union,
이 관련
and are now a matter of public
현재
record.
일반 문건으로 분류되어 있다. 우리 조선은 미국인들에게 위험을 알린
We in Korea were among the first to alert the Americans
우리는 일본
because we know better than anyone what the vicious Japanese are capable of.
알고 있었기 때문이다.
were slaughtered by Japanese troops.
More power to you, President Roosevelt. The entire country's behind you, thrilled with hope and patriotism.
프로파간다를 이용하여
As if using
자국내
propaganda to send their pacifist population to war wasn't bad enough.
어떻게 나치를 멸망시킨
Consider how America repaid its people for defeating the Nazis.
줬는지를 보면 그리 나쁘지만도 않은 것이었다. 종이 클립 작전.
Operation Paperclip.
종이 클립 작전이란
Operation Paperclip was the safe transfer of Nazi scientists and operatives into the CIA.
죽음의
Nazis like Josef Mengele, the infamous Angel of Death, who carried out live experiments on humans in the death camps.
이런 살인적
These death industry pros were given new identities as US citizens and employed in US laboratories to develop a dazzling array of mind control programs for the CIA, as well as new products and ideas for US biochemical warfare expansion.
Ultimately, they discovered LSD. All of that drug stuff.
General Electric, DuPont,
Not only did companies like General Electric, DuPont, Ford, and Bell help with Operation Paperclip, but so did Americans like Prescott Bush, the patriarch of the presidents George Bush. Documents in the National Archives and Library of Congress show that he committed treason continuously between 1924 and 1951. First, by using Jewish slave labor in collusion with the Nazis, and then by bringing those Nazis and their assets into America. Despite being a traitor to his country, this Nazi collaborator became a senator, and his family has assumed great power in America. But they are not the only fascist family to thrive from tyranny against humanity. Court records show that the Rockefellers' Standard Oil Company was selling more oil to Hitler's war effort than to the Allies. And for this, a federal judge ruled John D. Rockefeller committed treason against the United States. Treason, the most heinous crime of all. Prior to World War II, this man joined fellow traitor Prescott Bush and the British royal family in sponsoring the eugenics initiatives that gave rise to Hitler's racial hygiene programs. Horrifyingly, today, the Rockefeller family, the UN, and World Health Organization remain at the forefront of administering population programs designed to reduce world populations to more manageable levels. One can only imagine what terrible ideas these monsters have in store for us. To understand how Rockefeller avoided being punished for treason, we need to go back to World War I, when Germany was winning the war without a single shot being fired on German soil. David Ben-Gurion, the head of a powerful group of Zionists and the American Rothschild family, approached the British with the promise to bring the Americans into the war. In return, they wanted Palestine. The British agreed to this land theft and, at the cost of American lives and money which has never been repaid, they signed the Balfour Declaration, which was addressed to Lord Rothschild from the British government, promising Palestine to the Rothschild Zionists as a national home for Jews. This is both sinister and unnecessary, since Jews lived peacefully for thousands of years amidst the Arab majorities in the Middle East and had no desire to steal their land. The Zionist collaboration with the British worked. Germany went from winning the war to capitulating and signing the Versailles Treaty at, where else, the Rothschilds' palace. Palestine was then declared a British mandate, and the Zionists were able to swiftly colonize Palestine after the Second World War. On May 14, 1948, after Rockefeller leaned on smaller countries in the UN to vote Israel into the United Nations, Israel declared its independence from British mandate.
Today, the British mandate over the land of Israel ends. We declare a Jewish state in the ancient land of Israel. It will be called the State of Israel.
And 1 year later had claimed 78% of Palestine, despite only owning 6% of it. The first Prime Minister of Israel was Zionist David Ben-Gurion, who employed Reuters, which was owned by the Rothschild Zionist organization, to start an enormous propaganda campaign, which continues to this day.